Welcome to the NDE World Podcast, where we explore the magical, mystical, and spiritual world of near-death experiences. And now, Ashton Lewis and Daphne Lynn.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast. I'm your host, Ashton Lewis, and I have my lovely hostess, Miss Daphne Lynn, in the studio with me today. Thank you for coming out, Daphne. How are you?
Well, thank you. Enjoying being here, as always, and look forward to a continued near-death experience statement and comments on that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is like episode 3 or 4. I've lost count.
I want to say this is 4.
Yes, I think you're right.
So far, and we may knock it out today. Hey, this may turn into another one, or maybe even another one. We just don't know. How it just flows.
The comments flow.
It really does. Well, thank you so much for coming out today. We're looking forward to today's topic of about the church and their involvement and influence in the big picture of things. But I don't want to spoil that too much. But anyway, for those of you who are first timers, thank you for coming out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who are coming back, welcome. Thank you so much. We love you so much. Thank you. And don't forget to go to the actual website. That's NDE.world.
NDE.world.
There you go. There you go. So why don't we go ahead, Miss Daphne, if you don't mind, go ahead and jump into today's question and read that for us just to kind of set the stage, and then we'll just go ahead and jump into the comments.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I had an NDE 4 years ago. I used to go to church, but I feel it's off. Churches say spiritualism is demonic, and so are vibrations, mediums, crystals, etc. But I feel it's comforting. I want to get into those things as I had an NDE. I didn't feel God was what the church was teaching. He loves us all. We are all connected. Nobody is any better or worse than another. I just feel it's better to tap into my chakras and meditate, and the church just doesn't do it for me. I leave feeling confused and off balance. It's hard to explain. During my NDE, I felt my soul vibrate and leave my body. I had some premonitions before I bled out in childbirth, and they all came true. I feel it's a gift, and the church says it's demonic, and I feel so depressed about it. I'm far from evil, so why is this gift I have bad in the church's eyes? I sense loved ones who passed away, and I'm told that this is the devil. I just don't think everything is what the church thinks and claims that it is. Not debating or anything, I'm just confused. I want to tap into spirituality, but I'm scared.
Thank you for reading that for us.
You're welcome.
How about opening comments, Daphne, before we start getting into these actual other comments here? Do you have anything that you'd like to maybe open up with from these last few episodes concerning this particular subject that, kind of what we're looking at, what we're facing, and what we're finding a lot of?
Honestly, yes.
Pertaining to this topic?
I believe, and from what I've read from different books and the way I honestly feel and believe, is that you should do what resonates within your spirit, within your soul, regardless of what any other person or religion has to say about what you do. It is your life. You are creating your life. So if that is what you want to do, whatever you want to do it.
As long as it's for the greater good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the key everybody has to know. It's the only key is love. Do what you want. Just
love without condition,
and love unconditionally, yes, absolutely. And that means without conditions. Regardless of what people do or say or believe or whatever, just love. That's the key. So, well, I tell you what, let me go ahead and read this first comment here. It says that Christianity, quote unquote, is full of myths presented as fact. Well, that's a good opener that this person has done their research, it seems like. The only way you can endure being in that environment long term is to suspend your natural inquisitiveness and reason. And definitely to deny any spiritual experience as, quote unquote, satanic, that the church does not endorse. I was a practicing quote-unquote Christian for several decades before my natural spirituality could no longer abide the manipulation and fear-based faith that I was immersed in. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, very good. It's opening up with the truth of it from an NDEer's perspective, that Christianity is full of myths presented as facts. Once you've had an NDE or are knowledgeable of that, then this statement becomes true.
Even more resonates.
Yes, it definitely resonates to your core when you've done the research, if you haven't had an NDE, because what the church is teaching is separate from what you're actually experiencing through an NDE or an OBE. The God of that these people are experiencing is grander and more loving than what
man has created.
the man has created through religion.
Yeah, I see that.
And I really like the way that this person says that you have to suspend your natural inquisitiveness to go to the church.
Right.
Because you're shutting out.
Questions.
Exactly. You can't ask questions. You just do it through blind faith.
And then when you start to ask questions, you start to get condemned. You become the apostate. You are the outsider. You're the devil himself.
Because
you become demonic.
Satan has you because you're not following someone else's beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Go by your own beliefs, your own intuitiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It actually reminds me of, there is, in the Conversations with God book, some really good points that ties in with this. I would love to read, if you don't mind.
Sure. Go ahead.
To share with our listeners, because in this, the context was about about marriage and religion. I'm going to specifically talk about religion because that is what we're on the topic of today. From the book, page 601 in book, I have the complete dialogue, which is the 3 books in one. So on page 601 of book 3. Now, with regard to religion, you say where you want to go is a place where you can truly know God and love God. I am simply observing that your religions do not take you there. Your religions have made God the great mystery and caused you not to love God, but to fear God. Religion has done little as well to cause you to change your behaviors. You are still killing each other, condemning each other, making each other wrong, and in fact, it is your religions which have been encouraging you to do so. And I'm going to skip over a little bit to tie this in with this. It says, in God's love, everyone is included. In God's kingdom, everyone is invited. And this truth is what you call a blasphemy. You must, because if it is true, then everything you have created in your life is false.
Think about that. Would you like to comment on that? I like that.
I gotta catch my breath. So you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and you comment on that.
Well, there you go. I like that. And by the way, that's supposed to be the Spirit itself, God himself talking.
Exactly,
You were actually reading that right there. And talking about how, people, even with the best intentions, looking for God, and they're trying to find God, trying to find their higher self and their spiritual self. And that's awesome, and the way most of us are conditioned to do that, well, you go to church.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're going to try to find some kind of church to go to that you'd fit in, and then after a while, you'll either kind of become a part of that belief system, or you either move on and find something else until you find something that you're comfortable with. But the point is that all of the masters, from what I understand, since the beginning of time, and correct me if I'm wrong, even within the Conversations with God book, is that God, what we call God, the Great, the Spirit, the All,
the Source,
is the Great Spirit is within all of us, and it's all around us, but it's within. You have to go within to make the changes that you have to make. Once you start looking and going within, you can find out, how to fix yourself. Once you fix yourself and understand just who you really are, then you can start making that change in your life and making that change for others. But it all starts with you guys. We all have to start with ourselves as individuals. It's not about going to a church. It's not about going through a religion. It's about fixing yourself first. And, then once you've got yourself fixed, then you'll know where to go. And here's one of the crushers and with mainstream religion. I'm going to, and we're not bashing religion here. This is just within conversation of this topic. Yeah. But you got like the Christian religion, they've created a God, then they've created a person that is the only way to get to that God. And then they've created a hypnotic mind control mindset that everybody is worthless, everybody is sinners, just no good, and of course that's going to affect the overall mindset of people. And what do you expect? And that's why you have the world in the shape it's in now. So, and then they say you have to go through somebody, you have to believe in somebody that you don't really know anything about because it's all in a book. You have to put 1,000% of everything who you are, what you believe, everything in that book. Whereas when you become spiritually awakened, you leave the books behind and you spend more time in nature. You can go up to a tree and hug a tree, and you can love these experiences more out in nature because that's what's real. That's what God is. Mother Earth, get connected with her, get connected with, animals and all that kind of stuff because that's what's real.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm kind of a little off track, but I was just kind of wanted to throw that in there real quick.
No, I totally understand that, but think about how powerful this one statement from the quote-unquote Bible becomes and how it deters you from doing what resonates with you, from doing what brings you comfort, from doing things that make you who you are.
Right.
Do not follow your heart. Your heart is deceitful. How powerful is that?
Yeah.
That makes you deny everything about yourself.
Yeah, and your heart is your conscience. That's the God in you. That is what's real.
And that's why people don't do some of the things that they want to do, because Scripture, the church, the Bible tells them, don't do it. Don't do it. It's deceitful. Satan's going to get you.
Yep.
Well, guess
and
what?
And meanwhile, the whole time you're committing sin after sin after sin, what you call sin. So what you're believing and what you're teaching is not working. You have to go within and find that God within, and once you get a grasp of that,
into your heart.
Yes, then you change yourself. You see, from the inside out. Then you don't need churches. You don't need religion. You're not a sinner.
The church loses control.
Yeah, they lose their power.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject, just let me give you something to think about. All right. From our research, they say, and I don't know where the numbers come from. I just Googled what is the Catholic Church worth? It says that the bankers put it that the Vatican is estimated to be worth between $10 billion to $15 billion. Okay, think about this. This is one of the world's, if not the world's, largest empires. And I don't know if you've ever seen the gold that place has
on the
stored.
walls there, yeah.
Everything.
Everywhere.
No, I'm talking about stored. And they're supposed to be actually like miles upon miles of historical wealth and riches as well. So the point is, okay, you've got, say, like the church. And by the way, the Catholic Church are the ones who created Jesus. They're the ones who created Christianity. A lot of people don't know that. But Christianity came in way later. And they were originally called the Way, okay, or the actual followers of the Way. And that's what they were called. But the Catholics created Jesus, and they created Christianity, and it was built on bloodshed. So anybody who is a Christian from today's standards, like the Catholic Church or any of the Protestants, any of today's Christianity, they are following a blood cult, and they don't know this. I don't want to go down that. I'm not a basher, but this is historical stuff. So my point to all this is, yes, the church, they're worth $15 billion, but why can't they feed these dying? We have every single hour 1,000 babies dying, or children, or people that are dying from starvation. And it's like Africa or some of these underdeveloped countries or whatever,
Right.
Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. What are these people, these godly people, okay, that's got $15 billion of God knows what, yet the humanity is dying and like in the droves.
Greed, control, and power.
Yeah. So and this is what you put your faith in a book that tells you a story that can control your mind.
Right.
Guys, no. Hey, the light is going off. Everybody's starting to wake up. Wake up, guys. Okay? Christianity has got nothing to do with Christ. All right? The Catholic Church created Christianity years later after that early movement of all those people that got slaughtered. It wasn't Christians. The Christians were once doing the slaughtering, guys. And then they rewrote history and said that they got abused. I don't want to go down that road there. But anyway, this gives you something to think about. You got a $15 billion monster, but you've got billions of people dying every day, that these people can have the money and the control. The same goes with, like, Britain and the Queen and all this stuff. I've watched documents, them going down rows and rows and walls of gold stacked everywhere, but you got all these people starving, you see. So, and like you said, Daphne, you said it well, it's the greed, there's a lot of greed. Mm-hmm. But my point is, church is not fixing things.
Right, and spirituality has nothing to do with religion.
Nope.
So, and you saying all that, it does tie in with the next comment, which this person says, honestly, it has been proven that Jesus came later on in the Catholic religion. Mm-hmm. I never understood why Jesus was praised more than God himself, when in the Bible it stated you should not praise any other God. He may have died on a cross, but he is no different than anyone else today. What about children and other adults being kidnapped and tortured brutally? I do believe in God, but not Jesus. According to everyone, he is the Son of God, but that doesn't make him God. After my NDE, I become spiritual, as in meditation and manifesting, to keep feeling a part of that peace. I am more in touch with the earth and planting and growing some of my own food. It is a great feeling to becoming more spiritual. Always believe in what you feel is right for you. No one else's opinion matters. Who cares what others say, because they will never understand what they have not experienced firsthand.
Wow. There's a lot in that one. Well, if you don't mind,
everything we just touched on about what you commented in the last.
I was going to say, yeah. Wow. Like it says here, well, let's just start off, okay? It says, honestly, it has been proven that Jesus came later on in the Catholic religion. Okay, we know that. From what I understand, it ties in directly with the Council of Nicaea, but it's not 1,000% influenced by that. That was when they chose on whether or not Jesus was going to be God, or whether he was going to be just this character that they were, they had to create some kind of unity within the actual Roman Empire, so they had to bring all of these different, and when you think about it, Constantine was that emperor that he later became the Pope. That's what the Catholic Church was founded on. These guys, it's all connected, and Constantine was big into Christos Helios worship and Mithras worship, and that's where we get a lot of the character of Jesus, a lot of his characteristics and stuff, and not to mention Egyptian influences. There's Babylonian influences. There's all different types of influences that created the character Jesus. Mm-hmm. And there was actually a character that was actually based on, but here's the, Daphne, if I may, I like the way how Neil Walsh actually, uses that expression, the divine dichotomy. Okay.
Yes.
This person says right here, he says, I do believe in God. Okay. But I don't believe in Jesus according to everyone that he is the Son of God, okay? But that doesn't make him God, okay? I get that from this point, but the divine dichotomy that we all have to understand is that Jesus is God, and so are you, okay? Jesus is the Son of God, and so are you. That's the divine dichotomy, not that Jesus is something totally separate out there, on this pedestal that everybody
better
has to
than
worship.
Anybody else.
Yeah, that, and you're worthless sinner. That's not how that works.
Right.
These people taught us how to walk in the way. So at this point here, he says he can understand that Jesus was the Son of God. Okay, but here he's still separating it and putting Jesus separate than everybody else. No, here's some knowledge for you guys. The first secret to one of the esoteric secrets of knowledge is you've got to understand that you are God. You are what we call God. You are what we call that force, that life, that spirit, that energy, whatever you want to call it. You have to understand that that is you, okay? Well, once you understand that as you, just like Yeshua or Jesus did, he understood that. He understood that he was God, but he also is as a human being as well. Just like you, all of us are humans. All of us are individuals, but we all are one because we all have God in us. We all have that life force created in the image of the Elohim. We all are that source, everything, all life. Everywhere you look, that's alive. The trees, nature, humans.
The difference between Yeshua of history, the man that walked the face of the earth, is that he knew he was God. He knew he was one with the Creator. He knew he was a creator. That's how he done all the miracles that he done.
Yeah.
And we too are that. We just are not in tune with that. We have to learn and develop that because we've been oppressed. We've been under somebody else's thumb all of our lives.
Right.
We have to wake up to this.
Right. Everybody.
And when we wake up to this, that is when our world will change.
It will. And you have to start with the youngsters, but you have to get your own mindset right. We all, like I said, you have to change you. And here's the biggest thing. I kind of touched base on it earlier before I got sidetracked because I do that a lot. But I was going to say, like the Christian religion, you can pretty much do what you want to do because somebody else they've got your back. Okay, you can sin. Somebody died for your sins. Okay, well, first of all, you're not a sinner. You see, so if you're not a sinner, then now you don't need nobody to die for your sins. That's just part of the mind control. You see, anytime you put that responsibility outside of yourself, you're never going to grow. Period. Exclamation point.
You become stagnant like I was when I was in religion.
Anytime you putting outside, in other words, you putting your faith in an outside source, an outside God, an outside character. And yes, Jesus is a God because he's worshipped. Just like Zeus and just like, Hades and Poseidon, all of the, these deities and stuff that was out at that time and since the beginning of time. So whether you realize it or not, but Yeshua, the man of history, was a human like us. Okay. Jesus of the Catholic Church is a God, that was created a God by the Catholic Church and saying that he is the only Son of God and he is the only one that is God and that everybody is sinners and that everybody's going to burn and be tortured into eternity. But wait, we got a way out. Come through us. Okay. It's deep, and I do offer my deepest, sincerest love to anybody out there because this is not about bashing anybody's beliefs. This is about people who get it, okay? And this is for those who are growing up and mentally and spiritually. And so this is going to be whoever it resonates for.
Right.
For those who it don't, I love you guys, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody. So let me just put that out there.
Right. And I love the way this person brought it out, too, that after their NDE, they got away from religion. They got into spirituality and became more in touch with the earth and just connecting with everything on a spiritual level. And they said to do what you feel is best for you. That is following your heart, what I had commented on earlier. And that's what the Bible teaches. Don't follow your heart.
Right.
So when you do follow your heart, you do tend to lean toward these things, the spirituality, to getting out and on the earth, planting and growing, just being out in nature. That is being a spiritual person. That is connecting with the spiritual, the divine. Don't let someone else's opinions or thoughts suppress or press you down to where you can't do anything without worrying about somebody else's thoughts. Be who you are.
Absolutely, because who else could you be?
Something somebody else wants you to be.
Right.
I've lived that when I was in my past, so I lived to please others, and I've got to a point now where it's like reading and learning everything I have. It is about yourself, but it's not selfish.
Right.
As the way that many people like to say that if you focus on yourself, that it is, but it's not. There's beauty in it when you can be selfish.
Now, you had mentioned a couple of times what this person says, and you've said it as well, but I just want to add a tag to it where it says to follow your heart. I wouldn't recommend anybody just following your heart. I would recommend, discernment. I would recommend a trained heart. I would recommend, steps towards a wisdom, learning something and really training that, that discernment and really tuning into it. Really, if you have to start doing like meditations or something like we do a lot of, really tuning into that inner wisdom, for lack of words, and you can find everything that you need within. You really can.
Yes, I get that. Yes, I totally understand that. We get winded sometimes, don't we? Okay, so this one says, it's your conditioning that is holding you back. We are taught that those things are demonic because the beings who were in power felt they had to make up those stories to scare us into submission. The answers are within you. Trust yourself and pray for guidance, and then trust the answers.
Okay, perfect.
Ding, 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 ding.
So this person here, like it says it's your conditioning.
Yes, that
is holding you
oppression,
back.
that being under somebody's thumb.
Yeah, your conditioning, guys, is your indoctrination. That's your belief system, and if it's empowering, then, it's working. But if it's disempowering, you need to be careful and question it. Like I said, it says we were taught that these things were demonic because those in power, all right, felt that they had to make up those stories to what? Scare us into submission. Now, think about this. How many people in how many religions across the world, and part of that religion belief system is, based on fear or some kind of punishment of the afterlife or hell or torture, the fear of God. Yeah.
Instead of the love of God.
Very good. Yes, absolutely. Instead of the actual fear of God, it should be the love of.
Well, the love of all.
Yeah.
Everything, everyone.
Because everything is.
Good.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Next one.
Says, I left the church many, many years ago because I felt it wasn't spiritual. Just controlling dogma based on an outdated and misinterpreted text. Never really believed in Christianity, to be fair, though. I was always questioning things ever since I was 4 years old. It's demonic because they all have them scared. It's called control. It basically comes down to fear, and people, not saying all, don't want to have accountability or want to think for themselves, so they rest upon the churches to think for them.
Wow.
I have family like this. When you can think for yourself, you're considered a danger.
Ooh, I like that.
Wow.
I've experienced
People who
that
get
myself.
It. Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Well, let's back up a little bit here. This person said that they were involved in the church, and a lot of these comments, you notice, these people, do have experience and upbringings in this. So they're not just like bashing it, but they're just, after they've had their near-death experience, it totally takes them to a whole different reality.
It's continued growing. If you haven't had an NDE, I haven't had an NDE, but look at the knowledge that I have now from researching, from learning about this. The church would have told me that that's demonic. You don't do stuff like that.
Right.
That's controlling you.
And then you would have been stuck back in third grade.
Exactly. So these people, whether they've had, like us, whether you've had an NDE or not, are growing, continuing to grow. Your knowledge is being enhanced. You are continuing to self-develop. So we all need to get back to the realization that the church is for control and oppression.
Yeah. Very well said. Very well said. Well, moving on along here, it said, let me take the next one here. It says, you're waking up. That's that awakening we were talking about. Very good. You are starting to see through the lies that have enslaved humanity. Christians don't want to hear anything that goes against their narrative. Okay.
So very true. I mean, these people get, and I love that. I love surrounding myself with others of like mind, whether in physical form or through other platforms. When you surround yourself with people of like mind, then you will continue to grow yourself. Don't ever think that you know it all and you don't have room to grow,
Right.
because you can.
And never be so foolish to condemn another or think you know something that another one doesn't. You know, everybody's on their own trip.
Do the research.
They're on their own path. Yeah. And a lot of people, especially the religious people, you know, and I know because I've been there, you know.
Exactly.
I'm not
We're
bashing.
speaking from experience.
Exactly.
We're
and
not,
so
we're
are
not
all
condemning.
of these other people.
Yes.
That's my point from earlier.
Yeah. And that's why we say that on this podcast a lot, is because we are speaking from experience. We have observed this. We have lived this. So it may sound as though it is condemning, and it's not, as speaking from experience. If you take it as condemning, then that's your walk. It's not for me to say anything about. But we do not bash here. It is about observations and life experiences.
And it's also about awakening at the same time. So we're not
Right.
sitting here. It's not like, say, like just you and I. There's two people here, you know, in the studio, and we're just here babbling because we've got nothing else better to say. The point is, there's literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people around the world are waking up by the droves. Okay, we're having these extra. I don't want to say these supernatural, but they're really natural in the truest sense. But these phenomena, so like the NDEs, the near-death experiences, and the
OBEs.
out-of-body experiences, the OBEs, correct? You know, there's things that's happening now.
It's on a spiritual level that we have been, that has been hidden from us.
Yeah.
And then because the control, they tell you it's demonic to scare you away from seeking within.
Yeah.
To keep you oppressed.
And think about the demons and the monsters and all those kind of things like that, what that does to the psyche. You know?
Right. Read the
Is there
Conversations
evil?
of God book.
Absolutely. Is there darkness? Absolutely. Where does it come from? It comes from all of us who's putting it out there. You're either putting out good or you're putting out evil. You don't have to be influenced by anything unless you believe you're influenced by anything. You know, you need to understand that you are divine. You know, when you understand you're divine, then you'll start acting like divinity. But if all you understand is you're a sinner and you're worthless, you're good for nothing, then you're going to act like that.
Yeah.
Guys, why can't you understand that?
Think about this for a minute. I mean, it just really came to my mind. And all the miracles that Yeshua performed, most of the time he said, by your faith, you are healed.
Right.
So he wasn't doing anything. He was just telling you, and then because you believed it, it happened. Okay, that is the divinity within yourself. You have to realize that our faith, our knowledge, our knowing of things is what we create in our lives. We are creators. God made us that way. We are God.
And you can heal your sicknesses just with your own thought, your own spirit.
Right.
And he knew this. He knew how to tap right into that spirit. And a lot of people don't understand is this man was trained. You know, he was trained all of his life, and a lot of the actual, you know, the healing arts and the magical arts and all kind of stuff that people have no clue about. Why do you think they took out the age, 13 to age 29 out of the Bible? It drops off at 12, picks up at 30. Have you ever wondered why they took that out? Well, because it totally destroys Jesus, the God Jesus, and it takes you back into harmony with the man Jesus, who was a master who taught us the way, how to live.
Yeah.
That we were
and
all
he was
divine.
battling
we were all
against
divinity.
Yeah, and he was battling against the religious leaders.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on, wake up,
He was
people.
anti-religious, yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, when you think about it, you know, there in John 10:34, it talks about, you know,
You are
is it not
gods.
written that I said that you are not, that you are also gods? Mm-hmm. And that references over to Psalms, where it talks about, it says that scripture that Yeshua was referring to, that's what it
Was
says
from
there
Psalms.
in the actual writings, that you are all Elohim, you're all gods, you are all children of the Most High. Christianity teaches that no, there was only one Son of the Most High.
When you really go to doing the research in the Bible for the people that are in the church and practicing that, do the research on within and God within you, because it's in there, but it's hidden because you're not awakened to it. Do the research on that. Make it a topic for in-depth research so that you can become aware of this and grow and learn, become enlightened, and realize that you are that you are.
You are all children of the Most High, created in the image of the Elohim.
Right. I
in
am
the image
that
of
I
God.
am.
Yeah. So once you understand that, my point is a while ago about the John 10:34 scripture, you know, where Yeshua says, "You is it written that I said you were all gods." Okay. When look at the Catholic religion, which has created Christianity, where they said that no, there's only one Son of God, and there's only one God this on a throne up in heaven watching and judging everything, and there's only one Son, okay, one Son of God. Well, in their Bible, in the Bible, read it yourself, John 10:34, that one Son, when he says that you are God's, when you do the cross reference right there, back to Psalms, I want to say 82, 6 or 7,
yeah.
maybe 92, 6 or 7, something like that. I'm rusty on my scriptures. It's been years since I've been really into that. But the point is, if when you read that scripture, it says that you are I said you are God's. You are all children of the Most High. Jesus himself is saying you are all children, whereas the Catholic Church says, no, there's only one Son.
Right.
So, I mean, and this is only for those who get it and who are at that level, like, oh, wow, okay, now it clicks, now that makes sense. Yeshua was an awesome, beautiful soul. He was one of us. He is our big brother. He's one of the great masters, and he did teach us a lot of things, but he wasn't here to be worshipped.
No,
and that divine
not.
dichotomy is, yes, he is God, but so are you. Yes, he is the Son of God, but so are you. Yes, everything is God, and so are you.
Yes.
So, moving right on along. Miss Daphne, let's take the next one.
It says, you are not evil. The church brainwashes you to feel guilty. I thought I was going to hell for years and really struggled. It took 7 years of being away and researching the truth about death. NDE, for example. I also researched the history of the Bible to learn it is man-made.
Kind of pretty much says everything else we've been saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. This person is saying the things that we've been saying. But think about how the church with this person, they felt guilty. They felt they were going to hell.
Struggled for years.
And struggled. That is oppression.
So many people go through that, Daphne.
Yes, exactly. Because of religion. Religion does not carry over according to every near-death experiencer, according to the Conversations with God book, according to the Journey of Souls book. I mean, people need to do the research and wake up to this.
Yeah, there's a reality
because
back
religion is oppressing. It is keeping you down, keeping you from being the fully awake, mature, spiritual entity and being that you are.
Which, when it starts with you, then the whole world will change.
Exactly.
But as long as you're just goofing off and being, pretty much irresponsible, for lack of words, and you don't have to do nothing because you're saved. You don't have to do nothing because you're covered by the blood. You don't have to do nothing because somebody else has your back. You don't have to do nothing because you are born a sinner and you can't do any better. And you have to have somebody else that had to die, that, a God that teaches love and, that actually would murder and sacrifice his own son. When you start looking into the blood cults and the blood sacrifices and stuff and realize that's got nothing to do with reality, people, it gets so deep. It gets so deep,
does.
And I got to be careful because I don't want to sound like I'm coming out trying to bash anything, and I'm not, by no means.
You're speaking from experience and observation
it
alone.
goes so deep, and I'm glad that people are starting to wake up. Let me just kind of cut that short. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, Daphne.
Sure, and this is something that ties in with everything we have been saying and learn from NDE stuff and just our own research. You can be pretty certain that, quote unquote, the church is about mind control, scaring you into obedience and stopping you for thinking for yourself.
It goes back to free thinking, which in the times when the church was being established, if you thought for yourself, you were condemned as a heretic.
And what is heretic? Heresy.
Yeah.
We've done episodes on these.
And that's a Catholic invention, of the church, that if you don't abide by their rules, what they say is, the truth.
Heresy is oppression of the free thinkers.
Yeah. If you thought for yourself and didn't agree with what they said, then you were condemned. And once you were, condemned as a heretic, then that gave them the right to do what they wanted to with you.
Even
Imprison,
torture,
death. Yeah, absolutely.
Kill you. Yeah.
Because you didn't agree with what they said. You're
blood
therefore
check.
a heretic, you know.
Black cult.
Yeah. So, anyway, next one here says that when you are brainwashed by your religion and culture into believing that knowing your true essence is of God and source can't be allowed. It and all its potentialities has to be of the devil or evil. So the powers that be are in control of you, the population. It's self-regulating. Others will censor or shun you if you step out of the accepted superstitions. You have experienced the truth. Honor what you know. These falsehoods are crumbling. There are many opportunities out there now.
Oh, yeah. This person is another one that gets it. I mean, wow. I mean, and these comments are all tying around that knowledge that the church has oppressed and brainwashed the masses for control.
Wow. And think about this. They have destroyed the God in you and have demonized it all. When the truth is...
To scare you. Fear.
You know, there's a good... Well, never mind. I'm not even going to go down that one. I don't have that much time. I was going to comment on something, but out of respect for the time, I'm going to wait on that. And hold on, let me make note of it right here just for a second, because that's going to be about 3 episodes in itself.
Oh, I'm sure of it. You know, and that is the thing. When you operate out of fear, you're not operating out of love. There is only one of the two that you are operating in at all times.
Yeah.
Either love or fear. One or the other.
And love has to be unconditional.
So, and that's what the church has done. It's created a fear-based world.
Yeah.
Keeping you away from pure love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, moving on along, I like the advice of this next person. Run like hell.
Run!
From religion. You know it's wrong. Now accept it and continue on with what feels right. You are on the right path.
Love it.
They are trying to instill fear to be able to control their congregation. If you are fearful, then you won't find out that the key to everything is within you. If you know that, you won't need the church. If you don't need the church, they don't have money or power. Church is just another form of business trying to control the masses. Yes.
I love it. Oh my gosh. When you can truly wake up and accept this knowledge, it is enlightening. It changes your paradigm. It changes your whole world. And you can operate differently and be the creator that you are.
Yeah.
Be the God within you that is there that you've suppressed for all these years. It's so enlightening and so full of love. It just bursts out of you.
Well, to go with that thought, Daphne, I'm thinking of something from personal experience and looking at this actual comment here that this person here commented on. One of the things, I got to be honest with you, that really helped me to get out of the religion scene was to change in my understanding of, instead of church being the channel between me and God, or me and, you know, that
one-off fix-all?
that high, most high, all of that. Yeah. I had to understand it's just a business. You know, once I understood that, it's like, oh my God, my whole perception changed. Man, it's like that, what is that game, Tetris or something, where all those little pieces start kind of falling down in place.
There's all kind of games like that.
And I've got experience with the actual, I'm not going to say the name of this religion, but I was involved with it. But that's one of the things that helped me when I understood and did the research that whole watchtower and all, they're actually are a registered a real estate company and a book publishing company. They're actually companies. They're not.
Yes.
They're not the chosen by God Himself. They're just a religion that wants to control.
And they get away from paying taxes and other things because they're a 501c3. Ding, ding, ding.
All of them. All of those.
All
yes.
of them.
All of religions are they don't have to pay taxes and all. So it's just a big business. It really is. Even the church. Well, the church had to figure out some kind of way to make money. Well, they got some really good stories. You know, when I hear some stories of horror, how they built up their fortunes, you know, but I don't want to go there. So anyway, that's kind of one of the things that really helped me out. And I promised on an earlier episode that I would share a little quick story about one of my experiences, actually my final experience. And, you know, actually you were there and you can tell me from your perspective.
Yeah.
we were involved with this religion, and they're so controlling that, you do what we say, you don't do this or whatever, and they will actually shun you. They disfellowship you. So I'm giving you some keys out there. People who don't know.
When you get disfellowship, you don't get to talk to any of your family or anyone if you're going to the meetings.
Yeah.
You sit there in silence. No one talks to you.
Yep.
Because you're shunned.
Yep.
You're condemned.
When Daphne and when I started awakening, and I realized, I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I don't want to be a part of this. And, so.
I remember you going in that meeting that day. I just felt something was heavy on your heart and mind that day.
Yeah, because I was already feeling uncomfortable and wasn't really doing a lot anyway at this time.
Right.
So I didn't really want to go back after the stuff I started learning about it. And this is the Jehovah's Witnesses, by the way. I was teasing earlier. But anyway, long story short, after we had gotten away from that, we had just told them that I no longer want to be a part of this religion. Okay, so you have to write them a letter and all that kind of stuff. So once we were no longer part of that, we had other people who were still active in that religion and all that was actually causing issues behind the scenes. I'm like, man, that's not what these guys are, preaching and teaching.
They're gossiping, and they're not supposed to be gossiping, spreading rumors.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, went up there to go talk to the elders, and I was sitting right out in the front, and a whole bunch of people, they were all coming in for the meeting, and then a couple of the elders come out, and the one elder come out with this clipboard. He said, "Oh, you're not supposed to be here. Aren't you? Disassociated, and you're not doing this, whatever." I said, I looked at him. Man, it's so I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Liberating, for lack of words, So anyway, I just told him, no, I'm not a part of this organization. I said, those rules do not apply to me.
Right. He came out with his clipboard and he said, you're not supposed to talk to anybody. Right.
You have to, and he didn't know what to say. He actually his face just went blank.
Yeah, because they haven't come across people that don't have that control
like that. Yeah, they're so used to controlling people. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go have a meeting. Oh, let's get, go have a judicial meeting. Let's go get this fellowship. Let's go get, shunned or get reproved or all those. There's so many rules and stuff in that. It's so far away from God.
Have your privileges taken away for doing something
so
wrong.
Controlling. Yeah, but it was so liberating when I told him that. I said, no, I don't have to do. That doesn't apply to me. I'm not whether you're disassociated or disfellowshipped or whatever. No, they only have power over you if you choose to let that control you. Yeah, that's the point. Religion controls you if you allow it. So my point was, when I told him, no, that does not apply to me. I don't play by those rules. I am no longer under that control system.
Right.
His face, he
lost it.
His tail went between his legs. He turned around and went back in.
He did.
Guys, I can't explain the liberation I felt inside that day. But the truth is,
you took your control back, and that's what we say a lot. You take your control back, take your life back. Yes, but sitting there that day while waiting on the elder to come out, I remember. Because we were known there, we had people coming into the meeting, and when a couple of people noticed who we were sitting there, they literally gasped and took a step away from us to go around us because we were not part of their. Yes, we were not part of their cult anymore.
Yeah,
and there were the few that came through that saw us there and smiled,
nice people,
and but there's those that are under that control that just, they're the devil. You stay away from them.
Yeah, and like when we walked up that night to go up there to talk to them. There was an elderly woman getting out of the car, and a couple of guys went to help out. My first reaction, I went right over there to go help her out of the car, And she's getting up, and when she's looking at me, should I let him help me? Should I let him, and
she was scared.
She was scared, like I was the devil or something, because
and you were just trying to help her.
Disassociated ourselves.
Yeah.
I was being a human being, the love of God, helping my fellow man. And man, they gave me the strangest look, and I thought the old lady was going to have a heart attack. And I'm like, wow, the mind control. And I was under that same mind control for 30 plus years myself.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God I've been liberated.
And that's what religion does.
It does. Speaking from experience.
Yes, from our own experience. That is what religion does. It oppresses and controls you. You can't be loving because they're of the devil. They're going to get you. Yeah. I mean, really, just take a step back, do the research on the religion that you're in. Really research it, where it come from, what its dogma is, what its doctrines are, and then apply it to your life. Does this fit within a loving person, a loving God? Does this fit? Does it work? Is it working for me? If it's not, then take a step back, get out of it, and continue to do your research and grow it.
Find God within yourself. Yes. That's where it's all coming from anyway, guys.
Yes.
It's not going to be your religion. I hate to disappoint you all, but
conversations with God. Hello.
Thousands upon thousands of these experiences that we've had with the NDEs. Every one of them tells you that there is no religion on the other side. It does not carry over, guys. Religion is man-made human constructs, and they all operate on this side.
Even from the book Conversations with God, where Neil asked a question about the original sin. Mm-hmm. And the source was like, I didn't say that. I haven't done that.
That was all created too.
That was all created.
Guys, we don't
There
even
is
know.
no original sin.
No.
That is something the church made up.
Exactly. So
because
anyway,
we are all divine.
We are. And people need to know that, but you've got to know it before you can start acting like it. But at the same time, if you start acting like it, then you'll start knowing it even more. So anyway, we've got time for one more, Miss Daphne. In fact, we went a little bit over, but we're good.
I think we're actually closing up on
why don't you, if you want, go ahead and take that last one right there. From there, then we'll go ahead and, wrap things up.
All right. Learn to trust yourself. I felt that way from an early age. Indoctrinated and confused. God has led me away from religion, and things make more sense in my heart now.
I can relate.
Yes.
Absolutely. So learn to trust yourself.
And yes,
you came into this world
with
with God within. You came into this as God experiencing life here through you. Okay?
Yeah.
So
You think about
learn
children.
to trust that.
Think about how loving children are. They see another human or somebody hurt. They're there to love and help. That conditioning and teaching of control and conditioning they haven't accepted yet.
Or indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated with. So that's why in Scripture it says, come to me as the children. Because it's open wholeheartedness, yeah.
Yeah. So like it says here that God has led me away from religion, and things make more sense now.
It does, and it really does. When you step away from religion, from my own experience,
me too.
You feel you have a sense of knowing that connection with the source is so much more intense for me now since I've stepped away from religion.
Mm-hmm. And these masters have taught that there is a truth out there, and once you discover this truth, there's freedom within that truth.
The truth shall set you free, and it does, people. I'm telling you, it does.
It does. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This will be the last episode on the actual topic of what the church calls evil. And Miss Daphne, do you have any last words? Maybe something you want to comment on before we wrap it up?
Meditate on this, pray on this, seek answers, and really wholeheartedly about your religion. Really search this out and pray for the answers, and they will come.
Absolutely.
So that you can become enlightened and grow and not be suppressed and oppressed and under somebody else's control. Take back your control.
Keep knocking.
It
will be open.
Yes.
Keep seeking, and it shall be found.
Yes.
And this is wisdom from the masters, so you'll know it. And the truth shall set you free.
It'll resonate, yeah.
Like you said,
Most
shall
definitely.
set you free. Well, thank you so much, Miss Daphne, for coming out today and doing the podcast with us. We appreciate you coming out. And thank you all for listening out there as well. We love you all so much. Don't forget to visit us online at NDE.world and for more information and things like that. So, as always, guys, we love you. Peace be with you all. Until next time.
Y'all let your light shine.
For information about the NDE World Podcast, visit NDE.world. That's NDE.world.